So I'm joined now by Jan Dawson, Chair of Friends of Strathaven Castle, and Jeremy Osborne, also of Friends of Strathaven Castle. So
hello.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, last time we were talking, it was ahead of the open day that was held in Avondale Community Wing. I was in there for probably about 3/4 of an hour, and it seemed to be going really, really well.
Yes, it was incredibly well attended.
Yeah.
We held it from 1 p.m. till 7 p.m. And inadvertently we did put out an earlier message saying 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. And the first person came to the doors at 12:15.
Right.
And it was virtually non-stop all the time through. I don't know how many people we had, but I was constantly talking to people.
We're really grateful to the people of Strathaven who did turn out. It'd be nice if some more turned out, but the calibre of people that turned up was gratifying, and the genuine interest in the fate of the castle. They looked at Jeremy's displays and spent a lot of time there. We're really interested to see the reports, the survey reports, and what the estimates were. And it was a broad spectrum of people, from the older generation right down to the young generation. And as Jeremy said, lots of people stayed for quite a long time discussing the castle and what was going to be happening, giving us wee stories about the castle when they were younger, which was really interesting. And the elderly, or the older generation, I thought were perhaps ones that wouldn't turn up because they wouldn't have heard. We had so many of the older generation, and they actually spent time having a wee cup of tea and a wee cake, and just genuinely showed an interest. I'm pretty sure that we'll carry on with this sheet that we've put round for people to sign, saying that they back us, they give us their support in going for funding. An added bonus, we had our Friends of Strathaven Castle postcards, which we were selling for £8. And quite unexpectedly, we got a lot more than £8. In fact, we got quite a good sum of money.
It was very generous, weren't they?
Very generous. And on behalf of the committee, can I say thank you so much for all who showed up to the open day and showed a genuine interest. It's nice to know that we're not doing this for nothing.
I know.
We are not doing this for ourselves. This is for the community.
Yeah, because I think one of the things, like when Gemma and I were talking downstairs before we came up to record this, we were talking about how the castle's everywhere, and you see it on Climate Action Strathaven bus. It's on the back of the bus. It's an iconic part of the town, and when anybody makes up a logo for an organisation, inevitably the castle's in it.
I think so. I think the castle is actually the heart of the DNA of Strathaven, and that came across when we went out asking people to put posters in the windows to advertise it. Everybody was falling over themselves to be helpful and to be supportive and encouraging throughout the whole of the town. It was really, really nice to see, and the people in the library who helped us with the room. They were just so helpful and so supportive, going out of the way to help us. I just will also say that the Strathaven Council also helped a little bit put that presentation together. So they were I'm very grateful to them. And the Community Council were there on us, part of the same group looking after the castle, and they've been spectacularly supportive of us recently. So it's not just the Friends of Strathaven Castle. There's a lot of people in the community who helped us get to this point.
But I think over, going back to pre-COVID, when the masonry was falling off and the first signs that something needed to be done were there, and the initial discussions with the council. Over the subsequent years, there's been updates going on the Strathaven and Glasgow Community Council website. But going into that open day and just seeing up on the wall all of this survey material, information on what needed to be done, it was finally, after all of that work by the Community Council and Friends of Strathaven Castle, to see it getting to the point where you can see progress being made and a complete understanding of what needs done, how much money needs to be raised.
I think that's one of the reasons.
It's very gratifying. Can I just interject at this point? I forgot to mention that apart from the community, there was quite a few people who came along that can be of great value to us. Jeremy met quite a few of them, and we'll be in contact with them again. People that can help us in our funding and show us a way. Yeah. So as I say, Jerry met quite a few of them, and probably would be able to tell you more about them than I can.
Well, one that I know, I was talking to Roger Lee the other night from Adams Community Trust, And he was very positive about the open day and about what was there and about the fact that it's not now a concept, it's a project.
It is.
And that's the important difference. That's where we are now. It is now a project.
It is. I think, from my perspective, the problem that I perceived when I got involved with Jan and the group was that the castle's there, but people in Strathaven didn't really know what was going on. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to find out what was going on and help communicate that to the people of Strathaven so they knew what's happening with their castle, and then maybe do something about, facilitating getting it back up and running for us to use again. Yeah. So you're quite right, there's been a lot of work going on in the background, but it's been invisible. So we wanted to make it more visible, and we wanted to make a difference, and I think we've done that.
No, definitely.
So yes. We're at a point now where, as Jan said, a lot of people came to the open day, and this is one of the great things about having a one-to-one, a physical meeting, rather than just websites, is that you can talk to people, and you start to find out things about them that you wouldn't have known about if you just had a website posting. So an awful lot of people came up and had things to offer. You mentioned stories and anecdotes. There was a couple who came to me and said they'd like to set up a group to clear the river down in the castle grounds, if we would be interested in helping them set that up as a community group. Fabulous. Yeah. So I want to hear another guy who came along and said, I hear you've got a 3D laser scan of the castle. I can help you with that. Can I have a look at it and see what we can produce? These are the great things about it. People who've got opportunities, like you said, for Roger, for funding opportunities, coming along, seeing what's been going on, seeing that it's a project, understanding who we are and saying, well, maybe we can help and go away to look at it. It was all really, really good stuff.
Now, I mean, the one thing that kind of stood out whenever you walked into the room was above the survey pictures, which were great. There was a big, bright red £350,000 up there. So, yeah, I mean, you mentioned their funding. What's the next steps? Where does the project go from here?
Well, for those people who didn't actually get to come along, what I did was I broke out the costs. Well, let's just go back a second. The local authority, Southampton Council, arranged a condition assessment structural survey of the castle back in 2023, and ultimately the defects identified were costed up in end of 2024 by a reputable cost consultant. So I've taken those costings and broken them down into the various aspects of the faults and come up with that £350,000 as an all-encompassing cost to be able to consolidate and conserve the castle and get it to a place where the council will say, yeah, we can open it up again, we're happy that we're not liable for bricks falling off, stones falling off the walls and so on. Yeah. But in amongst all of that, one of the big problems that we're facing, initial problems, is that the longer we leave this castle, the more vegetation grows out of the joints and the bricks and the mortar work. And then anybody who knows a little bit about saplings growing out of joints, it's the worst thing you can have for a building. So my immediate, urgent need is to try and stop that. So I broke out of the estimates that will be given, how much they think it would cost to deal with all of that now. And that came to about £34,000. Okay. So the immediate need is to raise £34,000. The immediate project is to deal with the vegetation. So if we can get that done in the first half of this year, that'd be a great achievement. And then we can move on to look at how we're going to do the consolidation as we move forward. Whether we do it by section of the castle or all the castle in one go, I don't know yet. But we'll see how the funding goes. So that's the target. And I'm working with the Community Council and others to try and find that funding. And there's been an awful lot of activity since Friday last week on this. It's incredible. When you raise this spectre and you show people what it is and how much money it is, all of a sudden people start talking to you and really positive and really hopeful that we'll achieve this.
I mean, I think you mentioned, I think it was you, Jan, mentioned community support. I think you got quite a lot of signatures last week in terms of showing support for what you're trying to do.
Yes, we did. In fact, get quite a lot. Everybody that came in signed.
Well, they didn't get out without it.
They didn't get out without doing it.
Wasn't a bit sneaky, that wasn't it?
But as I say, they were genuinely interested and wanted to support us. There might have been a little coercion. Please sign before you go out the door.
Or get a cake.
Get a cake, have a cake.
Am I right in saying that we had about 80 signatures on the day?
About 80 signatures, yes.
On the day.
Which is a good start.
It is.
It's a start.
We'll
get there.
It's about 10% of the population of Strathaven, so it's a long way from being majority population supporting it.
Yeah.
But the sheets are still in the library, and they have lots more signatures from the library.
Yeah.
And we plan to produce some little booklets to put into the pubs and into hopefully Clontarf Strathaven and maybe one or two of the shops next week. And we'll leave them there for the week so people have got the opportunity to come in and sign. We'll be also looking at doing a digital signing sheet as well.
We spoke to Jenny about that, who designed our website, and there's quite a lot of difficulty in that.
Is there?
Yes, we need to look at it more, but it's not as easy as it sounds.
No, you might be able to do it as a Google poll, where you just ask a single question and then ask them to put their name, and then you get the information that way. So that's an option.
There will be ways around it.
But I think if people want to show support and can't get to sign the form, I don't see why we couldn't have an email to our email address, which is FOSC, as in Friends of Strathaven Castle, FOSC 1300 @gmail.com. They can drop us a line with that and show support that way.
That will show support.
I did mention that to Jenny as a way of doing it through our email. And talking about our website, if you want to go and look at our progress, where we started, who's in the committee, the history, etc., it's friendsofstrathavencastle.org.uk, and you'll find a great deal of information there.
I've had a look and it's looking really good.
It's a brand new website. It got stood up on the Friday for our event.
Yes.
So it's just it's our first attempt. It looks really good.
It does.
And we're going to start putting news items on there as we get them. Yes. So we're writing a news item for the open day. That'll go on there the next week or so. And any news we get, we'll stick on there as we go along. So and I'm really impressed with that website. She's done a really good job for us.
Oh, she's done an excellent job. I was very impressed, like yourself.
Good.
And as I say, the committee that we have at the moment, they all have different. Like Jeremy, he's a civil engineer. Ivani, who has a degree in archaeology. Not that that's what she works at.
But that's useful for the castle.
Very, very useful.
Jenny, it was a web designer. We have Bob, who is into
funding.
He knows how to go about and how to put it in writing, what we're doing, why it's of benefit to the community. They've all got their different skills.
No, I think where you are now compared to where you were a year and a half ago when it started is night and day. And I think we've described it as this is a live project now. This is not an idea.
Be under no illusions, it's been hard work.
Yeah.
Last year has been tough. The last 6 months has been pretty brutal trying to get us to where we are and get people on board to support us, listen to us, and as being part of the team. And getting to the point where we're now actually likely to raise some funds and actually do some work. I think it's a remarkable journey. It's a short period of time.
It has been, yes.
Yeah. No, that's
I say people don't see the work that goes into the background, and I would post initially every other week, and I got to the stage where I was like, what can I tell them? I did a couple of times say, we're still here.
Yeah.
We are working in the background and we will update you soon.
Well, look, I mean, this interview is 2 weeks after we did the last one, which was about the upcoming open day. And look where it is now. That's 2 weeks and the amount of progress is incredible.
And I'm immensely grateful to everybody who supports us,
Yeah.
who helped us put that event on, and who came along, who advertised it for us, who came along and saw it and contributed. And it'd be really, really lovely if we could have people from Strathaven contact us, either through the Facebook page or the email address, giving us their anecdotes or the stories or the memories and any pictures they might have about the castle. It'd be a great way of generating, reminding people of what we have, that we don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
Because that's at the end of the day, that's what matters. It's about getting the castle back to a kind of stable position where people can access it and see what it is.
Yes.
And then look to the future and see what future projects there can be.
Indeed. Because the castle isn't just that mound with the stones on it. There's land around it as well. We have the castle grounds, the boardwalk goes around the side, and there's land at the back of it where the trees are. I don't know.
As Jeremy says, the most important thing at the moment is consolidation.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, thanks Jeremy and thanks Jan.
Thanks for having us again, Liz.
No doubt we'll be speaking again soon.
I hope so.